Welcome to the CRAZYDRE Podcast Show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the main man, a.k.a. Crazy Crockett, a.k.a. Andre's Podcast. I'd like to thank RSS.com. I'd like to thank Griff for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me back, Trey.
Thank you for showing up. We do a lot of fantasy football. I'd like to thank Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everyone around the world, even people in Singapore. Los Angeles seems to love me more than anyone else right now. True story. They just downloaded a bunch of episodes. I don't know what's going on.
That's awesome.
And it is awesome. And Ganya. Don't know what they're doing, but hey, there must be the only two white people in that country that listen to me. Or maybe they like American football, not European football. Just joking. Sorry, Europeans. But look, folks, this is Griffin and I. We talk about fantasy football. We talk about football itself. This episode's going to be a little different, but we're going to focus on each game, go quickly through the games. We don't want to sit down and over-exaggerate or overthink about the games itself. I'm going to ask Griff questions about the games of what players that he thinks may have a standout or what players that may not have standout, where you might want to sit them out, overlook, maybe sit them on the bench. We'll just go through them. Maybe we're hoping that this is only going to be like a 45-minute show. The hour-and-a-half shows don't really work for us because we just get lost and the audience just kind of loses it as well. So we're going to start with the Broncos and the Saints. Now, what I've come to find out, Saints quarterback may be out. I think he is out. He's got a belief. And their main wide receiver, help me out with his name.
Chris Olave.
Chris Olave, or is it him and the other guy, Rashid
Shaheed.
I think he's got a torn up,
possibly out. Yeah.
His knee, not the ACL, but the
MCL.
What's that? Yes.
Or
so
the meniscus.
It looks like he's gonna be out, and because they're gonna do surgery on this. So, take us. What do you think? What's going to happen when the game with even Derek Carr, Kamara? Do you think the running back for the Saints? Do you think he's going to have a good game, bad game? I mean, he's going to be missing a lot of tools to make him valuable to gain those yards on the ground.
Yeah, I think Kamara's going to be just fine. Radler played in the game last week too, and he actually played very serviceably, so he did just fine. If you need a late guy, I would probably go with Bo Nix over Radler, just because that Broncos defense has been so good. Last week they gave up a little bit, but that might be a better route to go. If you really, really need something, because those wide receivers are out, Bub Means is expected to do a lot for them as their top wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But against that Broncos defense, yeah, I'm not expecting a ton of points out of those guys. Rather, I would stick to Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau for the tight end spot. Keep an eye out, see if Taysom Hill is playing. If Taysom Hill is playing and is available at your tight end spot, I would play him at tight end. He does get listed sometimes as tight end or quarterback. Mm-hmm. If he's listed as quarterback, don't play him. But if he's a tight end, play him.
Okay. Devante Williams, running back for Denver. Anything? Do you think he's going to turn it on?
Stay away from the Broncos running backs.
Because I dropped him, and he did something like 12, 13 points a couple weeks ago, but he's not much. Courtland
Sutton.
Anything out of him?
Yeah, I really like Courtland Sutton. He should be the top pick for the Broncos. It does seem like the last three out of the last 4 weeks, Bo Nix has actually done pretty well. Mm-hmm. Nothing great or elite, but done pretty well. As to the beginning of the year, it was kind of rough for him. So yeah, he's starting to get better, and then Courtland Sutton, of course, is going to keep getting better as long as Bo Nix does well. So
okay, and then that's the Thursday night game, of course. Thursday night on Amazon. The Patriots and the Jaguars. This is basically, I don't know how to explain it, one of the worst games on TV, and it's going to be on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. I would be quite happy to be missing this game if I'm going to church or sleeping in, because I don't see Trevor Lawrence waking up, or I don't know what's going on with that team. What would you do?
Well, so before last week, Doug Peterson came out, and it was actually right as we were getting ready for our show last week.
Yeah.
And Peterson came out in a press conference, and he said, we got to quit doing all this rah-rah stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Doug Peterson's thing. That's how he got the Eagles to the Super Bowl, was they were running like these crazy trick plays and doing lots of motion and things. I think for the Jaguars team, they can't do all those things where they're moving around and stuff like that. They're just not built that way. The players aren't that type of talent.
No.
So just like what Peterson said, he said he needed to slow it down. And last week, Trevor Lawrence had a great game, and the Jaguars played great and they looked great. And they got the W. So they were back at it. Same thing with the Patriots. Starting off with Jacoby Brissett, the team had just kind of been doing a little bit moving forward, nothing great. And then they got Drake May in there, and the Patriots looked like they might be onto something. So Ramondre Stevenson was out last week, and so I think he might be coming back this week. Mm-hmm. I think it looks like he's going to be healthy. He was sidelined at practice today, but I think he's coming back. As long as he comes back, I think that running game is going to be really good, and then I think that Drake May is going to be able to start getting some things going.
Do you think that just all right? So, by the way, you've been saying you say Briskett's going to be benched from this point on, or do you think that May? Or do you think?
Yeah, I don't think because they got the rookie with the third pick in the draft. I think once you decide to put him in, you have to go with him. And I think the offense actually looked a little better with him in there. So
okay, yeah. I mean, he can throw the football. He looks stronger. His accuracy is a little bit better.
Yeah, so, it looks like Travis Etienne is going to be doubtful this week, so probably not playing. Okay. So again, stick with Tank Bigsby, and also Dearness Johnson played really well in the last game as well. So if you're looking for kind of a late waiver pick, Dearness Johnson might be a good running back for you too.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds great. The Seahawks and the Falcons. The Falcons look hot. Cousins looks like he's a new player, new era. He just looks really good. Against Seattle's defense is getting hurt. So is this going to be another breakout game for the Falcons and scoring a lot of points, or is this just going to be like the Seahawks defense is just going to kind of kick it in a little bit and like, hey, nah, we're not going to let you do everything?
Yeah, Seahawks have been struggling lately. They've had a few injuries, but I think that they're going to put themselves back together here soon. I'm not sure it's going to be this week.
No, because the game's at the Falcons. So, I mean, if we look,
I think Kirk Cousins is starting to get back into form now, starting to heal up from that Achilles injury from last year. Mm-hmm. I think the Falcons' offense is going to look good against the defense here. I do think that the Seahawks' offense has been struggling the last few weeks because of tough defenses. Mm-hmm. I do expect them to really come back. So watch out for DK, Tyler Lockett, and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jabba.
Walker, you think he's going to do anything on the ground, or
Kenneth Walker's elite right now? I think he's third in my ESPN league for a running back. So Kenneth Walker, you want to keep as far as a season average, not season total.
Yeah, of course. So we'll go from this game to all right. This is going to be a really deceptive game. Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills. Obviously, everyone knows that the Cleveland Browns are on the way out to sell, and we'll talk about the other guy. But Amari Cooper is with the Bills. He's probably going to play for this game. Obviously, do you think any big changes? I mean, do you think Amari Cooper is going to get a lot of great yards, touches? I mean, he probably get the touches. Do you think he still has it?
I think that he still has it. I think that he might get 2 or 3 targets in this one, just kind of until he learns the playbook. I don't expect him to do very much.
Okay.
I think I actually heard that he might not play in this game.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
until he learns the playbook. No. Otherwise, I think L'Jarius Sneed would hop on him, the fantastic cornerback for the Titans. If he's not there, then I think that Snead will be on Khalil Shakir.
Okay. And on Cook for the Bills is questionable. Any big thing about it? I mean, do you think that? Well, the Tennessee Titans, they're not really great with running.
They have a really strong defensive line. If you can kick it out to the outside, you can do pretty well running, but it's hard to go straight up the middle on them.
Nothing's
Last week, what we saw against the Jets, Rob Davis and Ty Johnson both looked pretty good. Rob Davis really became the hot hand, so they ran his way instead of Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
I could see it going either way, play the hot hand, but I would stick with Davis right now. I think he looks like the better runner.
Okay, and here's something I've been told by other networks. Hopkins and other fantasy football stuff. Hopkins might be on the move out sooner or later because they think that he'll go to a team that needs an extra wideout. He may not be your number one receiver, but for another team, do you think he'll stick around in Tennessee? Do you think Tennessee is going to give up on him and let the season kind of go? I mean, how much longer do you think the Tennessee Titans are just going to go 1-4, 1-5, 1-6? Is there any time?
Well, yeah, I mean, Diop's just not the player that he was. I don't think they're going to get a whole lot of value for him.
Okay.
I mean, you're probably trading him away for like a 6th-round pick. I don't.
So
it's not. I don't know.
So it's not worth it.
Him, yeah.
It's not really worth it. Okay. He is 32 years old, so let's keep that in mind. This was supposed to be the game of the week, or probably the game of the year for Ohio, besides the Michigan-Ohio State game in college football. Cincinnati Bengals against the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, they have this game for 5.5 points in Cincinnati. I just have to say that because with Deshaun Watson, without Amari Cooper, no Chubb yet. I mean, Cincinnati, all their players are going to run over this, right? Chase, Zach Moss.
Well, the Bengals haven't been that good this year.
No, but
the Browns' secondary has been pretty good. They've had some trouble up at the line. Myles Garrett has been hurt, and so Myles Garrett's kind of getting back to health now. So I think that really makes a big difference for the Browns' defense. They did drop Amari Cooper, but Nick Chubb is potentially going to come back this week.
Wow.
They would say that he would still be splitting time with some of the other guys. Jerome Ford is also hurt. So keep an eye out all week on that. If Jerome Ford does not play and Nick Chubb is still not planning to play the whole game, just on a limited snap count, watch out for Deonta Foreman. I think Pierre Strong's listed as the top guy there, but I think he's a little more of the pass catcher. I would say Deonta Foreman would be your first and second down back. I would think that he's just got a better floor. He's a better player for you for fantasy.
Okay.
If that's the case.
Okay. And so this Cincinnati Bengals, they seemed to turn it on last week, didn't they?
Yeah, well, in both of their wins, they looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2 of their losses, they looked really bad.
Yeah.
And then in their loss to the Chiefs, they looked pretty good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're a little bit back and forth right now. They're still trying to figure things out. I'm not sure exactly how that team's going to go. I have trouble trusting them because of that. I would say always trust Jamar Chase. I think you're going to be okay there. T. Higgins, I'm not sure if I trust, though. I think I might take him out of my lineup.
Yeah.
Just until we see a little more consistency. So 2 weeks ago, he looked good. Last week, he did nothing. We'll see. He's just coming back from injury, so we'll see how it goes.
And then the running backs for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I like Zach Moss. But again, I think things really change with Myles Garrett playing. So it's kind of a hit or miss. Is Myles Garrett going to play this week? If not, then definitely Zach Moss.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Texans, Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is kind of the surprise of the year, I think, for me, just because I felt like last year they got very lucky in certain games, but they're 4-2, 2-1 at home against the Texans, who are 5-1, 2-1 on the road. And is the Texans running back Who?
Joe Mixon.
Is he coming back
Yeah,
this week?
he played last week.
Did he?
Yep, and he got a touchdown.
Okay, because I picked him up because I need help. I'm 1-5.
Wow, yeah, he was available in your league.
My league's kind of dumb.
So,
My league's...
if Joe Mixon is available in your league, pick him up. Take him right now. Stop listening to this. Go pick him up, and then come back and finish listening to this.
Yeah. So here we go. C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love. Who's going to have more points? What's the defense? How are we projecting the players to play?
Well, I definitely think that Jordan Love's going to have more points. I think that's just the way that the season's going this year, is that Jordan Love is one of the top couple of guys. Again, here he had the injury, so his season total points doesn't look as high. Mm-hmm. But if you look at season average points, he is the third highest scoring fantasy quarterback in the NFL right now. So I think that Jordan Love's going to keep doing that. Jaden Reed seems to be getting most of the attention. Tucker Kraft has really picked it up at tight end. If Tucker Kraft is still available at tight end, pick him up, put him on your team. Jaden Reed definitely should be on everyone's team now. For a little while there, Dontavian Wicks was coming in, but then Christian Watson got hurt, and now he's back. So it's a little bit more of a mix-up now between who else is going to get the ball. Romeo Doubs, we saw, got a touchdown this last week as well. Doubs had been complaining that he wasn't getting enough touches, and he wasn't getting the touchdowns. So 2 weeks in a row he has touchdowns. So keep an eye out for Romeo Doubs for touchdowns.
So I have Doubs on my team. I picked him up. Again, the same league. I don't know how I got those two guys. I got those two guys on the same night on Wednesday morning. And I'm like, when I woke up this morning, I'm like, okay, I probably only got one of the two. And nope, got them both. I don't know. I might just win it all right now. Well, there's an injury on IR. Collins is out for at least 4 weeks or maybe the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's where I was going to swing it to next. Was Nico Collins is definitely out. He is on IR, so he is definitely not eligible to play. And he won't be ready to play for a while. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, for right now, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, you want these guys on your team. Jair Alexander looks healthy again. He's the defensive back, the cornerback that plays against Stephon Diggs in this game. So keep an eye out for that matchup. I think that Diggs will still be able to get a few things. Diggs has played against the Packers plenty of times too with his days in Minnesota. So
yeah,
he's familiar with the team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think Tank Dell might be able to be the guy for you this week.
Okay, and this is going to be another disappointing game because of the injuries that's going on with Miami, obviously with Tua out. Dolphins, Colts, 2-3 and 3-2. Anything to say about the Dolphins players for this? Do you just leave everyone alone from the Dolphins? Do you just drop everyone on the Dolphins and just like forget about Dolphins? Let's not touch them.
Well, and Tyler Huntley certainly has not been the same guy that he was in Baltimore when he replaced Lamar Jackson. I expected huge things out of him. I thought he was going to be amazing and take over this team and force Tua into career retirement.
Yeah.
But none of that happened. So he has not been impressive. He is not on the same page with Tyreek or Jalen Waddle, excuse me. But, yeah, I try to avoid those guys. The one guy that you do want to look at is Devin Achane is coming back from his concussion. So he was trending well today. He came in and he did practice, so he should be good to go. That would be the guy that you want to play from Miami. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, Jonnu Smith, the tight end, might be a good play for you as well if you need a kind of a later tight end. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, for the Colts, I'm curious to see here. I think Joe Flacco's just been a tremendously better quarterback than Anthony Richardson the last 2 weeks here. Yeah. Obviously the last 2 weeks, Joe Flacco's been better while Richardson's been out. But, for right now, they're kind of saying like Richardson's going to come back and Richardson's going to play. But I think it would be really smart for that team just to run with Flacco. So keep an eye out on that. See if they do make any changes. If Flacco plays, definitely I go with Flacco. And then if Richardson plays, I stay away. So I feel the same way about the wide receivers. So all those guys, the Josh Downs, the Alec Pierce, even Michael Pittman, I don't want to play any of them with Richardson, but I'll play all of them with Joe Flacco. So that's kind of the difference for me. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's going to come back. So with Taylor back, I definitely play Jonathan Taylor the whole time for running back.
Yeah. Well, here's the argument I'm going to make. You're a fantasy football guy. I'm a team guy. So if I'm let's say, an Indianapolis Colts fan, I don't like watching fantasy football. When do you start to just stay with Richardson's? Because if you go back and forth from Flacco, and Flacco's doing well, Flacco's like, 38, 39 years old?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do if you're a Colts fan that wants to win a Super Bowl or wants to get in the playoffs? Do you just keep Flacco until he dies? I mean, what do you do with Richardson? Do you just
you play Flacco this year.
Okay.
And then you see if he wants to come back or what you do. But it looks to me like Richardson's not the guy.
Okay.
So I think you just go another route with quarterback.
Oh, okay.
And then Richardson might be your backup after that, but you probably let him go because he did come with a big price tag.
Yeah, of course. And then Tyreek Hill. If you have Tyreek Hill on your team, do you bench him? Do you bench him because you can't trust?
It depends on what you got, and if you have bye weeks, things like that going on, then if you're really struggling, I think you can put Tyreek in. But yeah, it's hard to trust Tyreek right now. If you have other options that are still pretty good, run with those until Tua gets back. It does look like for sure Tua is going to come back though.
Okay.
So when Tua comes back, you definitely got to play him. So you got to hold him on your bench.
Okay.
Same with Waddle.
Okay. Waddle. See, that's another guy I used to have and I dropped him because of that reason of Tua out. I'm not going to skip this game. I'm just going to keep going down because I don't want to get distracted in this way I can keep my time in check. Detroit Lions, Vikings. I thought with Hutchinson out, they would go after Max Crosby. When I looked at the contract, a $94 million contract, a new contract, I kind of rooted him out. Griff just told me that Max does not want to leave the radio land. He's got love and respect for Antonio Pierce for what he did last year as an interim head coach. Became the head coach full-time in the offseason, so it'll be kind of contradicting for him to leave. I will say this. I was looking at a couple other guys for Detroit. One guy was Myles Garrett. And it looks to me more reasonable. He's had a 5-year contract, two more years on his contract. It would make kind of sense to keep Hutchinson from hurrying up and coming back. I think Griff also thinks that if they don't need to sign anyone and Detroit can keep the momentum without Hutchinson, don't sign anyone. They did sign Cincinnati Bengals practice squad guy Isaiah Thomas. I think that's what I heard around Twitter and TikTok and everything else with it. Anything else you want to put on?
Yeah, I mean, and that's just to have a guy extra at the end of the depth chart, just to have another edge rusher there. But yeah, I think Josh Pascal takes his spot there. Aiden Hutchinson's spot, that is. Mm-hmm. Pascal was a second-round pick out of Kentucky the same year that we brought in Aiden Hutchinson. They were both supposed to come in to be both edge rushers, right? So one on each side. Yeah. But yeah, things ended up just going well enough that they were able to go without. So I don't expect horrible things out of Pascal, even against the Cowboys here. And I know it was just a complete domination game. Yeah. But I think that Pascal had a few pressures on Dak. Not a sack, but a few pressures. So I think that he's still going to be right there. I don't think it's going to take huge things away from Detroit with Hutchinson out, but obviously it changes the game a little bit.
I think the only thing that's going to change the game in Detroit besides this game, because I don't think Sam Darnold is going to me, Sam Darnold is good for what he is, but I don't think he's that mobile of a quarterback that will have issues without someone like Hutchinson, because Hutchinson usually isn't a sack guy for a lot of people, but he's a good pressure quarterback to pressure the quarterback to pass the ball or off feet or whatever, and release it a lot quicker than they want to. But moving on to that, both these teams, you got Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Montgomery, Aaron Jones. Is this going to be a money-making machine for these two teams this week? If you have some of these guys on both these teams, do you just watching the glory of points? Yeah,
just enjoy the game. Well, I don't know if everyone's going to score. The this might be a really low-scoring game because of the great defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, really, the secondary really shut it down for Detroit against Dallas this last week, right? It was, I mean, it's great to put up 47 points, but to keep another team down to 9, especially an offense that's as explosive with the CeeDee Lamb and all that Dak has. So, I mean, that's a really good defense there in Detroit right now. Even without Hutchinson, you got Tyrion Arnold on Justin Jefferson, and then Brian Branch up over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You got Carlton Davison on the other side for Jordan Addison. We'll see if TJ Hawkinson comes back. TJ might be back this week.
You're right.
And that was kind of what they always thought they were kind of going for. So if he comes back, I think that could really change things up too. Alex Anzalone would probably be trying to cover him. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent on that Minnesota team. Even Jalen Naylor, the next guy up. But then again, for Detroit, they've got Amik Robertson is covering that nickel spot. So there's just a ton of talent on both sides there. And then same way the other way around, Minnesota looks like they've got the best defense in the league right now. Everyone looks healthy right now. They're coming off of their bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for Detroit. I'm sure they were shaking in their boots as they were watching that game against the Cowboys last week, but I think that team's going to be really well prepared. They've got 2 weeks to prepare instead of the 1 week.
Yeah, of course.
Like Detroit. So that might be the difference in the game, but I think this should be a really good game. Either high scoring or low scoring. I don't know how it's going to go, but I do think they're going to be close one way or another.
I have a feeling it's going to be like a 24-27, maybe 27-31 game. I don't think that the defense of both teams will be good, but it'd be scoring on the spurts.
I think both defenses might score.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a like defense, and then both of these teams will score 2 times in a row, 2 possessions. I just don't know the sequence. I don't know if it's going to be the first half or the second half, but I just don't. I feel like it's going to be difficult for both these defense to keep both these teams out of the end zone. I do think Detroit has the advantage on the defense, but I think with Detroit's offense, you got Montgomery, you got Gibbs.
Minnesota has the advantage on defense.
Do you think so?
They're the best defense in the league.
They may have the best, but we have Montgomery, Gibbs, we got Laporta, we've got what's that other?
I saw Laporta get 1 catch in the game last week against Dallas.
It was off a flea flicker. Who does that?
The only catch that he had was
that's all he needed. That's all he needed.
The only catch, yeah.
But I do think this about Dallas. Dallas is a real bad team. And I'm going to say this, and the only reason why I think it is because they're putting too much things on Ezekiel and the running back, the Devante or what's
Rico
it?
Dowdle.
That guy, people were giving him props, but I don't think he's really that good. So I think they got crushed in the running game. Detroit was ready for any passing game with CeeDee Lamb. I used to call it CeeDee Lamb. I'd rather call you CeeDee, but CeeDee.
Well, it doesn't help that defense was really depleted for the Cowboys too. Their top 3 defense players were out.
You're right. So. So that was a deceptive game. So I do think that Detroit and Vikings it's not going to be a 14-17 game. I still think they both score 20 points. I just don't know how they're going to score 20 points. So we'll just keep on moving along. And from there, the Eagles at the Giants. Barkley's back at New York. Is he going to have a huge game against his old team, or is this going to be kind of like a big old letdown for the Eagle fans if you have Barkley on your team? Is this going to be like, oh, shit, I started this guy and he's not scoring nothing?
Yeah, I think that they might give Barkley some opportunities here, but I think that, either way, the Giants have not been that great at stopping the run, so Barkley is the right play anyway.
Yeah.
As far as the Eagles' secondary, I keep saying how they keep getting burned on deep passes. This should be one where Malik Neighbors totally cleans up, but I'm not sure if Neighbors is coming back yet. So if Neighbors comes back, definitely play him. If Neighbors does not come back, definitely play Darius Slayton. Slayton is going to be the big guy for you there. Devin Singletary is the running back for the Giants now. I'm not sure that he's going to come back, but Tyrone Tracy has looked very good in his stead. I would play Tyrone Tracy if Devin Singletary is out. If Devin Singletary is in, then that might be your option. But yeah, the Eagles' defensive line looks really, really good. So be cautious on that. Daniel Jones is a pretty good scrambler, so we'll see how he does. But I would say only one wide receiver from the Giants you can play. Otherwise, I think the Eagles are pretty safe.
Well, the Eagles got Devante Smith and A.J. Brown came back. So
yeah, well, and you saw immediately A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I mean,
got
he's
a
just
touchdown. So yeah, he's back.
So is it safe to say both of those guys going to score, or would you put on a FanDuel parlay and have Jones score 2 touchdowns? And that's something you got to think about.
I would trust A.J. Brown to score, but not Devante Smith. Devante Smith, I think, should catch some balls, though, for sure.
Yeah. And then from this point, we'll go to the depleted Vegas Raiders and semi-depleted LA Rams.
Maybe even more depleted Rams.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So we got Mijitsu, who's the quarterback. Devontae Adams is gone, obviously.
Minshew's out.
Minshew's gone?
Aiden O'Connell's the quarterback.
Collins is the quarterback?
Aiden O'Connell.
O'Connell's quarterback. And
yeah, he took over like 2 games ago.
Oh, did he really? Because
okay. Took over in the middle of the game, and then they're going to show you stats on Minshew because right now Minshew still has more yards numbers and stuff. But
he's got better numbers, yeah.
But Aiden O'Connell took over 2 games ago in the middle of the game, and then last week he started.
Okay. So here we go. Not a big. I mean, what are you going to do with the Raiders?
I mean, obviously Devante Adams is gone now.
Myers, what are you going to do with Myers?
And so Myers is your top guy. Hopefully you get some stuff out of that. Zamir White has been out the last couple of weeks, so Amir Abdullah has been getting some opportunity. Alexander Madison has been the primary back. I would still start Madison. I think Madison's still going to put up some stuff for you. Zamir White might be coming back this week. I would say that he probably is going to be on a snap count if he does. So I don't trust White, but I do trust Madison for this week.
Shouldn't. People said give up on White because he's not good.
He was just so good at the end of last year when he took over for Josh Jacobs.
But he's not doing nothing yet this year.
Right. So he's had some struggles, and I think that it has had to do with some injuries too. But yeah, I think for right now you can still keep him on your bench.
Okay.
But yeah, he's not a starter for sure.
Okay, and then with the Rams, obviously Matthew Stafford, do you keep him as your? He's not. Is he your number 1 quarterback for your team?
No. You're only playing Kyron Williams in this game. That's it. Nothing else.
No, nothing else.
No tight ends, no wide receivers, nothing else. Don't do it. Don't try something crazy.
No Matthew Stafford.
Well, and I think Stafford's performing right now as QB 31 in the league. So he's just not got it together. Nice that they had a bye week, so maybe they take an extra week. Maybe they've got some fun things Sean McVay worked up, but
Cooper Kupp.
Stafford doesn't have it.
Cooper Kupp.
Who's that?
Cooper Kupp.
Who's that?
You serious? Is he done? Is he hurt?
Is he coming back? Is he healthy?
I don't know. I thought he was a little bit, then came back and sat down, and he's just kind of.
Did he get some plays in the last game?
Yeah, I thought so. But I don't know. I mean, look.
Yeah, I mean, things obviously change if Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua come back. I mean,
when is Puka Nacua coming back?
Then you want to play. But yeah, I don't know the exact timeline on that one. But until those guys come back and start playing, avoid Stafford and avoid. What do you have? Like Tyler Higbee and Colby Parkinson are the tight ends. Mm-hmm. Avoid those guys. They're working as blockers right now for Kyron Williams, and Kyron Williams is cooking. So let Kyron Williams do your magic.
Okay. The Panthers and the Commanders. I know this is a really fun game for me because now everyone's watching the Washington Commanders. You got Daniels as a quarterback. And then you have Mr. Redhead as your Panthers quarterback.
The Red Rifle.
So what do you do? Well, what do you do with the Washington? Obviously you got Daniels. Obviously you got McLean. Is that his last name? McLean? For the wide
Terry McLaurin.
McLaurin. Yes. Do you have that connection going on for this game for sure? Touchdown, maybe yards, both of them. running? What's going on here?
J.C. Horn should be on Terry McLaurin, so McLaurin should be a little more limited for that, but McLaurin's still going to get his catches. He's just too good a wide receiver. Shout out Terry McLaurin. He deserves more credit in the league than what he gets, especially in fantasy. But yeah, I think McLaurin's going to have an okay game. I don't think he's going to have a huge game. But yeah, J.C. Horn should be slowing him down. We might see some stuff. I mentioned Noah Brown last week. He's still kind of a flyer you can go in there for. He's getting 3 or 4 catches every game. Brian Robinson, I'm not sure if he's going to come back and play. He did sit out last week because of that knee injury, but it looks like he might come back this week. He did participate in practice today in a limited way. So we'll see if Robinson comes back. That makes such a huge difference for the rest of the game. It totally changes everything else that you do as well. So play Brian Robinson if you get Brian Robinson against the Panthers. Looks like we're still going to have to wait another week or two before Jonathan Brooks comes in for the Panthers. So that's the stud first running back taken in the draft this year. So super excited to see him go. But for right now, you can keep counting on Chuba Hubbard and Myles Sanders. They're both playing really well.
Oh, yeah. Myles Sanders, well, if you have better running backs for A and B for running backs in your team, I wouldn't play Hubbard or Sanders at all.
Oh, no. Play Hubbard.
Play Hubbard.
Play Hubbard for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're looking for a weak flex spot, you could play Myles Sanders. But for sure, Hubbard's like 12th or 13th or something in, as far as running backs this season. So
okay.
He's doing great until Jonathan Brooks comes back.
Okay. I'm just making sure. All right. So this is supposed to be a Super Bowl matchup in the middle of the year. Kansas City Chiefs and some San Francisco 49ers. I mean, there's a lot of injuries going on for both of these teams. Is this going to be a really sloppy defensive game where the defense is kind of good, it's just going to be boring to score points? Or if you have any of these fantasy football, Mahomes and Kelsey, I mean, what do you do with Debo and Prudy? I mean, is Prudy really that quarterback that you kind of want to have on your team, or is he the guy that you just kind of like, ugh, do I want to start someone else? I mean, what do we do here?
Yeah, I mean, the rematch from last year's Super Bowl here. Kansas City's wide receivers got better even without Rashee Rice out there.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelce's not doing everything he's supposed to do, but Juju Smith-Schuster looks like he's pulling it back together. But they've got a lot of weapons here. We're going to see how much Kareem Hunt does. I'm not sure that Carson Steele is still going to be going in that lineup, but Kareem Hunt and Samaj P. Ryan seem like they're going to be kind of taking over a little bit more of that. But, yeah, I think that you can trust a lot of the guys. Kelsey, I know, has been struggling a little bit, but I think Kelsey against Kittle is always a great matchup. I think both guys are going to be able to get a little bit done. And then I think that Debo is going to struggle in this one, lining up against Trey McDuffie, the excellent corner for the Chiefs. Brandon Ayuk might be the guy to go for in this one. But, yeah, I think in this one, I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than the Super Bowl was. I think that you're mostly relying on defense here. It looks like the 49ers have Fred Warner back now, and then they've got a few things moving again. So no CMC. I'm not sure if Jordan Mason is coming back.
Yeah, he
hurt his shoulder this last week. I'm not sure if he's going to play. But Garundo is the running back if he does not play. So if you're looking for a deep fantasy football guy and he hasn't been picked up yet, Garundo might be the guy that you want to play.
Okay. And the Chiefs are 5-0 and 49ers are 3-2. Any chance? I mean, we kind of have to ask. Any chance the Chiefs will lose the first game to the 49ers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 49ers are a very well-coached team. There's a lot of – I mean, the 49ers have struggled with some injuries. But, yeah, absolutely, they could beat the Chiefs. I just don't see it in this one. But yeah, I mean, it could definitely happen in this one.
And then we also got to talk about the tight end for the 49ers.
Yeah, George Kittle getting after it.
Is he going to get lucky this week? Touchdown.
Best tight end in the league this year.
Finally. I had him for 2 years in a row, and then I'd like, nah, forget about it. He's not doing now. He's doing stuff. Son of a gun. I don't like you anymore. Just kidding. So let's just keep moving. All right, here we go. The Sunday Night Football matchup. This is the game that everyone's going to see. The remarriage, the breakup, the remarried. Devante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers is happy, obviously, because he's got his best receiver of all time with him. Devante Adams is happy because he's not playing with Mijitsu and the 49ers, which is kind of sad because he really likes to play in Raider land because he grew up watching the Raiders. Steelers, you got Fields. It'd be dumb for them to put Russell Wilson in there anytime this year. Please do not do that. I mean, you don't even have to tell the Steelers head coach that. I mean, Mike Tomlin probably would slap me upside the head if I told him that. Jets, Steelers, big game for Adams, Adams already knows the playbook because he knows Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't he kind of?
No. This is a different offense. There's a different guy calling the offensive plays.
But
he has not been throwing the ball with Aaron Rodgers in a few years. So they're gonna take a couple games to kind of get things back into the swing of things. But there's still a lot of talent on that team. The Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. We've seen Alan Lazard has been great. Who does have that connection with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams is out there now. There's a ton of talent. I expect Breece Hall and Braylon Allen to continue doing most of their successful running. Yeah, the Steelers' defense looks really good. This should be two really good defenses. I expect a little bit of struggle on the offensive side for both teams going against these defenses, but yeah, I'm curious to see how this works out. The Jets' offense looked pretty good against the Bills this last week, without Robert Saleh at head coach. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but the Bills have been really difficult to pass on.
Oh yeah,
and Aaron Rodgers had no problem at all. He tore him apart like he did in his prime. So
okay, so this is not a question of Aaron Rodgers is going to be he's out of the beat. The question is, was Sy just too restricted, and not letting the Jets play?
Well, they still had an offensive guy that called the plays. Their OC has been doing it the whole time. But yeah, that's the question is, were they not playing as well because of some kind of friction from Robert Saleh? But yeah, otherwise the team looked really good this last week. Not quite enough to win the game, but they look pretty good. So I'm curious. Pittsburgh's still a very, very good team, so we'll see how it goes down.
Okay. All right. This is one thing I hate about Monday Night Football, and I'm just coming old-fashioned. I hate when they have two Monday Night Football games because you can't just focus on one. And now you got two. One starts at 8:12 and one other at 9. Just like you guys know, I have to go to bed by 10 o'clock. So thank you for playing the worst game later than the earlier game. We got the Ravens, Buccaneers. This is going to be a fun one to watch. We got Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. We got Derrick Henry, who scored a couple touchdowns. Looks like the old Derrick Henry of the past. Or maybe they just know how to utilize Lamar Jackson, confuse the defense, and then Henry gets the football and runs it for a couple of yards. The Ravens got a good defense. Evans, Godwin, are they going to be kind of shut down a little bit? Is it going to be a struggle for both those guys to get the points? Maybe one of them will get a touchdown, the other one won't. What's the game plan here?
Yeah, I think both those guys are fine. Last year the Ravens had the best defense in the league, and I thought they were going to come back and do the same thing this year. It seems like they're really missing some pieces. They're really missing Patrick Queen over there in Pittsburgh now. There's a few pieces that just aren't lining up right for them, and that's why they've got a couple losses now. They've been in close games with everyone, but they're not winning every game.
No.
In this one, I could see them definitely beating the Bucs, but it seems like they just don't quite have that going. But yeah, like you said though, the run game is great. Derrick Henry is great. Derrick Henry doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. I expect maybe after like week 12, Derrick Henry might slow down just from overtime for the season. But I wouldn't expect him to slow down for a few more weeks still. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think you're right on point here. This one's going to be a fun one to watch. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring game. Let's see if the Ravens can put together some kind of scheme that can confuse Baker Mayfield. But Baker's looking great this year, and I expect him to have a big game too. So,
isn't he just the happiest guy in the world? And he looks at somewhere in the Midwest and say, "Hey, what's that city? Cleveland. Oh man, I used to play for that team."
Yeah. Well, and you saw the Texas-Oklahoma game this weekend. It was,
yeah.
They put Baker's jersey down on the field and then stuck the Texas flag into it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then they went back and they asked Baker about it. Said, "Hey, how do you feel about this?" And Baker said, "Sounds like 10 years later, I'm still living rent-free in their head." so he seems just very comfortable, cool, relaxed. He's very happy where he's at in Tampa. He's got great wide receivers. He's got a good offensive line. He's got a great setup right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one more guy. I got to talk about the running back for the Buccaneers. Anything going to happen with Irvin?
Yeah, so I really like Irving. Rachaad White sat out this last week. Rachaad White, I think, is the big question mark here. Mm-hmm. Tucker came in and he played as the other running back in this one, and they did split time. But he got 2 touchdowns coming in just as the backup. So
yeah,
watch out for that one if Rachaad White goes out again. But I think that's mostly fluky. I would still stick with Bucky Irving. I think Irving's going to be your guy.
Okay. The Chargers, the Cardinals, last game of the night. The Cardinals look really good in the beginning of the year. Now they look kind of ugh. The Chargers are in between no man's land, I kind of call it, because a couple guys hurt. I don't know if Justin Herbert.
Well, Herbert should be in there. Gus Edwards is on IR now, the running back.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins has been doing phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I would say that J.K. Dobbins is doing exactly what we expect J.K. Dobbins to do, as long as he can actually play. And the problem has been that he has never been healthy any season. Every year he gets hurt at the beginning of the year and he's out for the whole year. So, I mean, hope for the best for the guy. I hope that he stays healthy. But this is what we thought when he came out of Ohio State that he was going to look like with any team that he played for. Mm-hmm. And then when he went to the Ravens, we said, oh, yeah, the way the Ravens run the ball, he's going to be great. And every year he's drafted high in fantasy and all that. And every year he gets hurt at the beginning of the year and he misses the whole year. So if he can stay healthy with the Chargers, I think he's going to be great. But what we saw in this last game, and it was always kind of a thing we thought about before the season started, is that Vidal is a rookie this year. He was a 6th-round pick, and we kind of thought he might be the guy who ends up taking over that backfield.
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
I would not be surprised if he ends up doing just that.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for Kamani Vidal. If he is available, you should take him in your league. With Gus Edwards no longer there in the way, we should see some more out of him, and he looked pretty good. He only had like 11 yards rushing, but he had quite a bit going as a pass catcher. So keep an eye out for him. He'll be great in PPR leagues.
Oh yeah, okay.
Moving forward. Otherwise, the defense is great for those Chargers. I imagine that they're going to mostly shut down the Cardinals here. I think Marvin Harrison's still going to be able to do a little bit of damage on his own just because he's so talented. Kyler's going to be able to scramble around a little bit and make a few moves, but. Yeah, this team's kind of a first half. They kind of stick around, but then, they kind of lose in the second half. Just frustrated with not being able to keep up on their own.
Kyle Murray, you think he's just a kind of like guy that doesn't know how to readjust the second half? Is that his thing? And maybe that's why you don't want to have him on your team? Because
I think he just needs more talent around him.
More talent?
So, yeah, I mean, Michael Wilson's kind of catching some balls out there. I mean, they're doing a little bit, but... Yeah, they just need more talent.
Okay. And then Jim Harbaugh needed to where it depends, I guess. There's a story out there that he had to go into he went to the locker room and changed his pants because everyone made up the story that he pooped his pants. But that's not true.
That's an awful story. Yeah, he has a heart arrhythmia.
Yeah, I guess so.
So he's had it a few times.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty serious condition. That's unfortunate that people said that. But yeah, he went back and he got his pulse checked and all that. But he was okay and he was able to go back and continue coaching.
So what is that? It's just, do they put something in your heart and then you just have to like keep an eye on it?
No, yeah, he was able to kind of just calm down and not move around as much and kind of settle himself in. But that heart arrhythmia he has had. He had it back in 2012, and then he also had it back in 1999, if I remember correctly. But it's just kind of a little skip in the heartbeat that happens every once in a while. And he thought that he felt it coming on, and he said, "Man, this kind of feels like that did then." And so he got up and he left. But then that's why John Harbaugh was in his press conference, and they pulled him out of the press conference, and they said, "John, we need you to come over and talk to us for a minute." And they had another guy go up on the stage. But
family stuff, yeah.
But yeah, they just wanted to let him know that Jim had this and that he was okay. But
that's pretty scary.
I mean it's something that you hate to see. But yeah, unfortunate that rumors are spreading in another kind of way there. But
yeah, I mean he was wearing the same pants. Come on, folks. If he would have pooped his pants, he would have probably just told you. But yeah. Folks, that is about it. We hit that 15-minute mark. It was shorter, sweeter. Got to the games. Anything else we got to say about fantasy football? Any big news? Any letdowns? Any disappointments?
I mean, I think obviously the big news is going to be the Devante Adams and Amari Cooper trades that happen. I think for both of those guys, you got to give them this week and let them kind of learn the playbooks and the new homes that they're in. These guys aren't just playing football; they're also looking for a new home in their new city. They're moving their families. There's a lot of stuff going on besides just football. So they're going to do this, but yeah, I think give them a week or two. Aiden Hutchinson, man, I hope the best for you, man. You mean so much to the city of Detroit and Lions all over. So get well soon. I hope that you're ready before week 1.
You don't want, like you and I both don't think he should come back by the end of the year, even though Dan Campbell's being political police guy and say, well, it'd be nice if he came back, but reality, you don't really want him to come back and get rehearsed.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's saying the right thing, but I mean, the only way that you would have him come back is if he made it maybe back for the Super Bowl, like in February might be the absolute soonest.
Yeah.
But if the team is still making it to the Super Bowl, then they don't need him to hop in. Then they just let him sit out. Let him be done.
Yeah.
So don't rush back into that.
It would only suck for him if he didn't play in the Super Bowl and then won the Super Bowl. But
he did have a successful surgery though on Monday, and he is he's coming back to health. But yeah, he's got metal plates and stuff in there, so don't do that. Just come back when you're ready.
Yeah, and Jerry Jones is still.
But alive. we did say before the season started that we wanted him to improve instead of be that 10-sack guy. We wanted him to be a 15-sack guy, one of the elite guys like the Myles Garrett and DJ Watt.
Yeah,
and 7.5 sacks in 5 games, 4.5 games.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, he was on his way.
He did have 5 sacks in the one game though.
4.5. Yeah.
4.5, but that was quite amazing.
But yeah, 7.5 sacks in 4.5 games is ahead of the.
This is I'm a little surprised. Some guy at the bar told me that they don't like Aiden Hutchinson, which I don't even know why. I mean, it's so stupid. He got hurt. He goes, "Yeah, good. He's not any good." Like, I'm not going to get into it.
Somebody doesn't watch football.
He also didn't like Matthew Stafford. He's like, he was overrated. Like, questionable. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Crazy Dre Podcast Show. Griffin is back on. We had an awesome show.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much. 53 minutes of your sweet time of fantasy football. We're a little different. We don't ran on like ESPN, and Griff still has a job outside sports. So
see you next week, guys.
Yeah, see ya.